My average day is actually very similar to what it was pre-COVID because I'm very lucky to be teaching in person. So I'm teaching down in Shenandoah Conservatory in Virginia and also at NYU, and I'm able to see my students in person. That also means that I get to see and hear my students live. So I'm getting to hear live music, which is something that many people aren't able to do at this time. So for me, it's very rewarding to not only hear their performances, but to be involved directly with them. So most of my days are actually spent teaching and exploring and a little practice here and there. And I'm also lucky that my wife's a pianist, so we are able to rehearse and play together and enjoy music together in a complete way, which is also something that I feel very lucky. Recently, actually, the world has started to open up in some states here and there, and so I've actually been able to travel a little bit, and I've been able to perform for some live, socially distant, masked audiences, and to feel that energy. And so I guess I'm maybe the outlier, someone who's actually been quite active during the COVID-19 pandemic, but getting to come up here and play chamber music, that's really, really fun. And that's probably the most rewarding in terms of sharing music with others, apart from just hearing great students perform for me in the studio. So I guess that's the average day. What inspires me most as a musician is the music itself. So the amount that I love music is really, really high. That's why I became a musician, because of the love for the music itself. I love listening to it, I love playing it, I love sharing it, I love listening to it with other people, I love playing it with other people. I mean, it's really comes from the music itself. So that's what inspires me, great music that I love. And then secondly, sharing that with others. So that means sharing it with students to try to instill my love of music in them, or to exchange about how much we love music and how much we care about music. Sharing it with my colleagues, so expressing things. You know, if I look over at Mignon or look over at Ani, and there's this exchange, this exchange of sound, exchange of musicianship, exchange of storytelling, that's also an element of sharing music with others. And then audiences, sharing music with audiences. I mean, when I get out on the stage, I'm so excited to show the audience why the music is great, if that makes sense. Meaning that I already think the music's great, and I want to prove to the person listening that it's as great as I think it is. And that's why I try to express musical things such as nuance and phrasing, because I'm trying to show what makes the music so interesting. I'm trying to show the arc of the phrase. I'm trying to show the audience that this matters, this note matters, this inflection matters. So it's the sharing, and it's just the music itself. That's what really inspires me. So this question is really fun for me, because even though I wouldn't consider myself an equipment nerd or an equipment junkie, what's in my case really is very personal and very meaningful. So first off, I have my instrument, which is made by Gennaro Galliano in 1743. It's a beautiful Italian instrument, and from Naples. And here in the bridge was made by Lucas Vronsky, my friend, who works in New York City. And a sound post was made when I was on tour in Johnson City, Tennessee, actually in North Carolina, actually in Asheville, but I went to Johnson City to get a sound post made right before a concert. And then the strings I use are by Perostro. I actually sort of endorse those strings as being the finest strings I've ever played. So they're called Perpetual. They're a new line of strings. And then the bows that I have in my case are actually sort of where I get the most meaning from, because this bow was actually purchased for me by my parents when I was 10 years old. It was my first full-size cello bow, and it was made by a gentleman named Paul Martin Seafried, who lived in the Pacific Northwest. He unfortunately passed away at the later part of 2019. But I still play this bow, and in the recording I'll be playing this bow, and in the performance I'll be playing this bow. And the other bows I have in my case are another bow by him that I bought at an auction because I love his bows, another bow that I bought also at an auction that just happened to be a bow of the collection of my former teacher, and I didn't have any idea that that was the case, but I just bought it randomly and then eventually found out that it belonged to my former teacher, Toby Sachs, who passed away in 2013. And then the fourth bow I have in my case was a gift from my cherished mentor, Lynn Harrell, which was one of his bows, a French bow previously attributed to Tourt, who was the most famous bow maker of all time, now no longer, and it's sort of broken in a few places, but I think it was meaningful for him to give it to me as one of his students. So I have that, and it's like my mentors coming through in the cello case. And then I have this satin cello cover. It says, my name is embroidered, it says Julian Schwarz on it, and that was what I wanted for my 12th birthday. I was so into cello at the time that I found this silk cello cover, and I said, please, can I get it for this birthday? And I'm still using it to cover the instrument and to protect the instrument to this day. So there you go. What's in my cello case is actually very personal and meaningful. So yeah, I'm very, very lucky to play such wonderful instruments and equipment.